Hello everybody, it's TannerFishies here, back again with a new Ninjago video here on the channel. In today's video, we are going to be discussing the ages of the Ninjago ninja, which has been a long-running debate in the Ninjago community for as long as I can remember, of course. The ages of these ninja have always been taken into question when talking about the Ninjago series because nobody really knows what the right answer is. Everybody has their own personal opinions and their own personal headcanons as to how old these characters are, and at what points in the series they may have been aged up a little bit. The timeline in Ninjago is pretty fuzzy, so in today's video, I would like to provide you guys with my updated opinions and perspective of how old these characters are. As I've said, we don't have any official numbers as to how old these characters are, unless you count the Lego Ninjago movie, which actually did give us one solid answer, the information being that Lloyd is in fact 16 during the events of that movie. But considering how the Ninjago movie and the Ninjago show are not connected in any way, we're not going to be considering that for today's video. I also plan on adjusting the Ninjago timeline to fit 5 distinct eras. In my opinion, the entire Ninjago timeline can be broken down and separated into 5 distinct years. In other words, think about each era as a year of time passing. The first era would be the pilots up until Ninjago Season 2, when the ninja begin their training and officially start training the Green Ninja. Era 2 is specifically Ninjago Rebooted, Season 3. It takes place a while after Season 2, and there's a long amount of time that passes after the season actually plays out. Era 3 begins with Season 4 and ends with Season 7. After about a year since Zane's death during Season 3, and we know a year passes in between Hands of Time and Sons of Garmadon, making Era 3 Seasons 4 through 7. Era 4 is the Oni Trilogy, Seasons 8 through 10. The Oni Trilogy begins 1 year after Hands of Time wraps up, and Season 11 doesn't pick up until a fair amount of time after Season 10. So the Oni Trilogy is Era 4, and Era 5, for the sake of this video, will be anything from Season 11 onwards. This includes stories like Prime Empire, Master of the Mountain, and Seabound especially. My goal for this video is to give you guys my own personal thoughts and again my own personal headcanon as to how old the ninja will be going into Ninjago Season 16 or whatever you want to call the summer 2022 season. And remember, this is not the distinct answer here, these are just my own opinions because frankly there is no distinct answer. So starting things off with Era 1, I believe Kai would be around 17 years old. He seems to be pretty capable of handling the blacksmith shop on his own and taking care of his younger sister Nia. After Kai is recruited by Sensei Wu, we meet the rest of the ninja team, starting with Jay, who I've always imagined is around the same age as Kai. We have Cole, the Earth Ninja, who's actually going to be a little bit older than Kai and Jay, at least according to my own personal opinion, because he appears to be more mature than those two. He's the natural leader of the team, at least at first, so he's probably going to be a little bit older. Zane is a little bit of an interesting case because he was created during the Serpentine War, roughly 40 years prior to Ninjago Season 4, otherwise known as Era 3 of our timeline. So he's been around for quite some time. Lloyd is also a very special case because he started off the series as a small child, but then grew up into a teenager following the transformation via the Tomorrow's Tea. And finally, we have Nia, who of course has to be younger than Kai because naturally Nia is Kai's younger sister. And at the same time, she has to be old enough to have her relationship with Jay make sense. So considering Era 1 takes place within 1 year, I believe that at the end of Era 1, Kai would be 17, Jay would be 17 as well, Cole would be 18, Zane would be 38, again we'll explain more of that math later, Lloyd would be 10 at first but then get aged up to 15, and finally Nia would be 16. That's what I'm going to go with for the end of Era 1. At the beginning of Era 2, remember this is taking place a year after Season 2 wrapped up when Season 3 begins, and the ninja are all teachers for the most part, therefore they need to be legal adults in my opinion to gain teaching jobs. The only exception to this would be Nia, who would still not be 18 during this era, at least according to my opinion. But I imagine since Master Wu runs the academy and Nia seems pretty capable on her own, I imagine she could still qualify to be a teacher. So after Zane's sacrifice at the very end of Era 2, Kai would be 18, Jay would be 18, Cole would be 19, Zane would be 39 before he ultimately sacrificed himself, Lloyd would be bumped up to age 16, and Nia would be 17. Moving on to Era 3, which picks up a long time after Season 3 wraps up, and considering the events of Seasons 4, 5, 6, and 7, and including Day of the Departed, could accurately take place all within a year of each other, ending off the third era, the ages of the ninja would go as follows. Kai would be 19, Jay would also be 19, Cole would be 20, Zane, having been rebuilt in his new titanium form, would spend about a year year in this form during this era. Lloyd would be 17 and Nia would be 18. Following Hands of Time and picking up 1 year after Master Wu was lost through a time vortex, the ninja are all 1 year older. A full year has passed according to the actual dialogue of Season 8, and we've established that the Oni trilogy could take place all within a year. Following the defeat of the Oni towards the end of Season 10, the ninja would all be aged up about a year, so the following ages would make sense to me. Kai would be 20, Jay would also be 20, Cole would be 21, Zane would be 2, having spent now 2 years in his titanium body, Lloyd would be 18, and Nia would be 19. And finally, moving on to the 5th and final era, ever since Ninjago Season 11 picked up, I imagine all of those seasons could collectively take place within 1 year. We might see a small time skip following the ending of Ninjago Seabound, but as of right now, going into Ninjago Season 16, or the Summer 2022 season, I believe the ninja would be the following ages. Kai would be 21, Jay would also be 21, Cole would be 22, Zane would be 62 following the 2 years that he spent in his titanium form in the normal world, and of course including the 60 years that he spent in the Netherrealm as the Ice Emperor. The Ninjago creators have estimated around 60 plus years. So for the sake of simplicity, Zane would be 62, Lloyd would be 19, and Nia would be 20. And that's where we are going into Ninjago Season 16. Now, does this make complete sense? No, of course not. But then again, nothing in the Ninjago timeline makes sense. There are absolutely corners in my headcanon timeline where you can indeed point out inconsistencies and things that really just don't make much sense in general. Some might say that maybe Kai should be more than a year older than Nia. Some would argue that Lloyd and Nia should be around the same age. And of course, there are several questions about Zane and how old he exactly is. Are we going off of actual time, or are we determining his age based on how long he's existed in the Ninjago world? Whatever you want your own personal headcanon of the ninja's ages to be, I'd say go for it. We do not have a consistent answer from Ninjago higher-ups, nor does the show even remotely provide any evidence, aside of the fact that the word teenager is thrown around sometimes. Otherwise, you guys, that'll pretty much wrap it up for my video here today discussing my personal thoughts on the ninja's ages, and now it's time to turn things over to you guys down below in the comments section. Since there is of course no official answer, I encourage you guys to leave your own headcanon thoughts down below in the comment section. How old do you think the ninja are following the ending of Ninjago Seabound? And if you wanted to break down the timeline like I did to explain your point a little bit better, feel free to do so. Also, let me know down below in the comments if you're interested in seeing any other videos similar to this. It's been a minute since I've done a video talking about the ninja's ages, and if you guys are interested, I could totally cover other characters like Master Wu, Garmadon, Misako, Pixel, and several other popular Ninjago characters aside from the 6 core ninja. With that being said, you guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. That'll pretty much wrap it up for my thoughts here today. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. And as always, check out the links down below in the description from other forms of social media. Thank you all so much for checking out today's video. Once again, you guys, my name is TannerFishies, and with that, I bid you farewell.